Hello everyone, this is part 13 of What If Naruto Was Trained by Anko, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like and subscribe. To see more, comment down below. Now let's 5. Sakura took a deep breath and relaxed herself. She faced the Oto Genin who was glaring at her. She figured that she wasn't happy about her victory over her. She could tell that she wanted to do some real damage to her. Kin kept glaring at her and couldn't wait for the match to begin. Sakura turned to Naruto who gave her a nod. She nodded back and faced her opponent. I would be more worried about yourself, not your teammate. I'm going to make you hurt after what you did to me. Kin snarled. Sakura didn't say anything and waited. When Hayate started the match, both quickly made a move. Kin threw several senbon at Sakura, but Sakura dispelled into Sakura leaves. Kin was surrounded by the leaves and Kin cursed. She activated the bells that she had kept on the senbon. The ring bells dispelled the leaves and Sakura was frozen, holding her hands to her ears. Kin smirked and attacked Sakura, punching her in the jaw. His smile disappeared when Sakura was replaced with a log. The sound stopped and Kin turned into Sakura's fist. She was set bouncing off the ground. She got to her knees just in time to see Sakura use the Bunshin clone. Kin was quick to her feet and allowed the two clones to pass by her and attack the last Sakura. She ducked and dodged Kin's attacks, staying at distance because of Kin using senbon between the knuckles. She lashed out with a low kick that stopped Kin's movement and tripped her up. She quickly connected with a knee that rocked Kin's head. She then hit her with a 5-punch combo and ended it with a kick to the gut. As Kin tumbled, Sakura did some hand seals and disappeared. When Kin got to her feet again, she could not find the short pink-haired girl. She then felt someone grab her ankle. She cried out as she was dragged underground. When the smoke cleared, Kin's head was the only thing visible. Sakura pulled out a kunai and placed it on her forehead. Kin snarled at her, but she could not move and she was in a non-favorable position. Hayate declared the match over and Sakura the winner. Sakura relaxed and placed her kunai back in her holster. She bowed to Hayate and made her way back to the balcony. She could hear the sounds of Lee cheering and a group of Narutos leading the chant, Seiku Ra, Seiku Ra. She blushed at the two but loved the attention. There were many who were surprised by the victory. Ino couldn't believe that her rival had actually won. She didn't even know that Sakura knew jutsu besides the academy ones. She suddenly felt depressed and wondered if she was any good to be a kunoichi. Shikamaru was impressed with Sakura's skills. He was there to save her and Lee from the Oto ninja. She was already out cold and he figured that the injuries on the Oto team were because of Lee. Now, he was reconsidering that. The last was Kakashi. He had never taught Sakura those moves. He figured that Genjutsu was the way to go, but he never gave her any scrolls to work with. He definitely didn't teach her the Doton, Shinju Zanshu no Jutsu, Earth Release, Double Suicide Decapitation technique. He needed answers and now. He walked over to his other two students and overheard them. Say it, say it, say it, say it, Naruto kept saying. Alright, damn you. You were right and I was wrong, happy, Sakura exclaimed. Yes, yes I am. As I said, simplicity is better than being flashy. Using simple genjutsu and that jutsu I taught, you were able to win the match. Naruto said with a grin. Sakura just gave him a dirty glare before softening it. Thanks again Naruto for helping me out. I don't think I would be nearly as strong if it wasn't for you. Sakura said. That's when she noticed Kakashi. No problem. Unlike Sasuke, I won't ignore you, and unlike Kakashi, I won't abandon you. Naruto said. He noticed that she got quiet and saw her eyes. He looked behind him and saw Kakashi. The two looked at each other before Kakashi turned and walked back over to where he was. Sakura just sighed and gave Naruto a look. Naruto did not look apologetic and turned his attention back to the match that was about to start. It was Akado Yorwa versus Sabaku no Temari. Temari readied herself as did Yorwa. Hayate began the match and Yorwa rushed her. Temari was quick to blow him away with her Tesson, Iron Fan. Yorwa hit the wall hard as Temari backed away to get more of a distance. He got up and tried again to get close to her, but Temari would not allow that to happen. She opened her fan fully and waited. When he got close enough, he attempted to use his speed to get close. He managed to get very close to a surprised Temari. However, Temari smirked and vanished. Yorwa was surprised until he heard Temari speak. Kamaitachi no jutsu, sickle weasel technique, was her cry. Yorwa was left up by a violent whirlwind. He cried out as he got cut up by the slicing winds. Hayate awarded Temari the match and told her to stop. She stopped her jutsu and allowed Yorwa to drop to the ground. Everyone winced when he landed head first onto the concrete. She just walked back to her team without a care. Shikamaru, Naruto and Sakura watched with some worry. Those Suna ninja are kind of vicious, don't you think? Sakura asked. Considering how they live and where they live, it isn't too surprising. We should all be careful, Shikamaru said. The board cycled again and Naruto smirked at who was next. He also smiled due to who he was facing. Well, Shikamaru, good luck on your match, Naruto said. Shikamaru looked at the board and sighed. He would be going up against Tenten. He slowly made his way downstairs and faced his opponent. He could see that the girl looked very annoyed with him and his attitude. What the hell is your problem? Aren't you going to defend yourself? Tenten demanded. What's the point? I don't even want to be here. I especially don't want to fight a girl, Shikamaru stated. What does that mean? Tenten growled. It's just that all women are troublesome, Shikamaru said. Tenten immediately pulled out 2 scrolls and called out her technique. Soshoru, twin rising dragons, Tenten roared. Smoke exploded, taking the form of dragons. They spun in the air and reached the ceiling. The smoke cleared and 2 scrolls were revealed. Tenten jumped in the middle of the 2 scrolls that were still spinning. Tenten summoned an array of weapons and began to attack Shikamaru with some gusto. The boy looked at the weapons and began to run. Tenten attempted to kill Shikamaru, who just kept running. It didn't help Shikamaru that Naruto was egging the girl on. After a few minutes, Tenten finally ran out of weapons. Shikamaru sighed in relief until he saw Tenten's hands move. Her weapons came out of the ground and floated in the air. Oh crap! Shikamaru had to continue to run as the weapons came at him again. Tenten missed the running boy again and attempted to move her weapons again. Shikamaru wasn't about to let that happen. He did a seal and his shadow connected with the wires. He used it to connect with Tenten's shadow. Now in control, he used Tenten to turn her weapons on herself. Tenten was very confused and surprised at her actions. She couldn't move her arms to dispel the jutsu and was now at Shikamaru's mercy. With no other choice, Tenten had to surrender. Shikamaru released her and quickly left the floor when he was declared the winner. He reached Naruto, who was now alone again. He glared at his friend who just smirked at him. You could have made that match a little exciting, Naruto said with a smirk. I hate you so much right now, Shikamaru said. He quickly hid behind Naruto when Tenten passed by. She attempted to glare a hole through Shikamaru. Naruto just chuckled and turned his attention back to the grounds. The board cycled names again and it was Inuzuka Kiba against Akamichi Choji. The 2 boys dropped to the ground and prepared to fight. Kiba was cocky and told Akamaru to stay out of this. He used the Shikyaku no Jutsu, 4 legs technique, and attacks. Choji stood his ground and took the blow from Kiba. However, Choji absorbed the blow and threw Kiba back several feet. The boy was surprised and tried again. Choji took the blow again and sent him flying again. Naruto was impressed and looked at Shikamaru. Wow, I didn't know Choji was so strong, Naruto said. He's not really strong, but he's using his brain a little. He's using his clan's ability to absorb the damage and return it, using Kiba's own energy against him. Shikamaru said. That's pretty cool, Naruto said. Kiba growled at Choji, who was standing in the same position. He called Akamaru to his side and gave him a pill. Akamaru's fur turned red and his energy spiked. He jumped on Kiba's head and the boy did a signal seal. Jujin Bunshin, beast human clone, Kiba called out and Akamaru turned into a copy of Kiba. The 2 Kiba moved and attacked Choji. Choji stayed on the defensive and was parrying every attack of Kiba's. He was using mostly throws and redirects to combat the 2. Kiba was getting frustrated but quickly calmed himself. He threw two smoke balls at Choji and blinded him. They both used this to attack Choji. Choji couldn't help himself but take some blows from the two. That's when Kiba decided to finish it. Gatsuga. Fang passing Fang, Kiba said. The two began to spin and came at Choji to finish the match. Biker no Jutsu. Multi-size technique, Choji called out. He grew in size and got very big. When Kiba's and Akamaru's attack hit, Choji was able to absorb the brunt of the attack and threw the two drills away and into the wall. The two crashed into the wall and grunted. Choji decided that it was time to attack. Slipping his arms, legs and head inside, Choji began to roll. Nikudan Sensha. Human bullet tank, Choji shouted and quickly rolled towards them. Kiba shook the cobwebs out but he saw the large rolling ball coming at him. He looked at Akamaru and told Akamaru to move. They did and Choji crashed into the wall. Kiba and Akamaru used the Gatsuga again but Choji used the roll to launch himself from the wall and clash against the Gatsuga. The attacks were batted away and sent flying. Choji managed to stop and took to the air. Using the gravity, Choji brought his full weight down on one of the Kibas. The Kiba gasped before turning back into Akamaru. Kiba roared at Choji for hurting his friend and charged at him with everything. Choji rolled at him as well. Kiba did a powerful Suga, passing Fang, and Choji increased his speed. The two moves clashed and there was a large explosion. Everyone watched the smoke, awaiting a victor. When it did clear, they all saw Choji and Kiba on the ground. They were both not moving and both had swirly eyes. Hayat checked them both and stood. This match has been declared a draw. Hayat said. While the outcome was not what some wanted, people were impressed with the fight. Kurenai went to get her student and Asuma did the same with Choji. Naruto had to say that was a very interesting match. It looks like things are starting to pick up. Let's see, Naruto said and looked around to see who was still left. There's the guy with the large eyebrows, myself, the guy with his arms in slings, Hinata, that Neji guy and the sand guy. Oh man, I can't wait to go. Calm down Naruto, why must you always be so excited? Shikamaru said. Naruto was about to say something when the next two names were shown. Naruto's face took a serious expression when he saw that it would be Hinata against her cousin Neji. He looked across to see Hinata had a similar expression on her face. As Neji made his way down, he appeared right next Naruto. Let's see if your influence has done anything to her. In the end, it is her fate to be a loser, just like you. Neji said and walked off. Naruto just glared at the retreating form of Neji and really resisted to toss a kunai to the back of his head. He looked back toward Hinata who was also making her way down. The two locked eyes with each other for a brief moment. Naruto gave her a thumbs up and a goofy grin. Hinata smiled and nodded at him before continuing. Shikamaru looked at Naruto before facing the field. Do you think that she will do well against Neji Naruto? Shikamaru asked seriously. I think so. I believe that Hinata will not just show Neji just how strong she is but she's going to show just how strong a Hyuga can really be. Naruto said. The two focused on the floor and waited for the match to begin. Chapter 26 Hinata walked down and faced her cousin, Neji. She was very nervous and fidgeted for a bit. Neji saw this and narrowed his eyes. I thought that you have changed but I guess that I was wrong. You are still that scared little mouse that is too afraid of her own shadow. It is your fate after all. Neji sneered. Hinata looked like she was going to break down but she then closed her eyes and remembered. _flashback_, so, your cousin hates you for his father's death. Weren't 3 at the time. Why does he believe that a 3-year-old can fight a Jonin? Naruto asked Hinata. They were at the ramen stand, Naruto treating her after their confrontation with Neji. The prick was insulting her in a roundabout way that he did not like. He then offered an ear to her and asked what that was about. That's one reason but another reason is that he feels that I don't belong in the main house because I am not the typical Hyuga. Hinata said sadly. Well that's a good thing. No offense but most of clansmen are pricks and your dad is an ass. Naruto said, gaining a gasp from Hinata. You shouldn't worry about Neji either. He's just a coward who's blaming you for no good reason. You need to just look him in the eyes one day and tell him that he's a jerk and delusion. Oh, if he tries to break you down again, just turn it on him and tell him to, bring it bitch. That earned him a slap on the head by Ayami. Hinata giggled and just smiled. _present Hinata opens her eyes and looked at Neji with some confidence. Neji saw this and sneered. Before he could talk, Hinata stopped him. I know what you're going to say and you can just save your words, cousin. I will not be put down by your words because they are nothing more than an excuse. I am sorry that your father died, but I will not be blamed for it anymore. I will not carry the guilt of his death on my shoulders just to make you happy. If you want to hurt me, then you are welcome to try. However, Hinata activated her Byakugan without a hand sign and got into a stance. You will find it much harder than you realized. So, in the words of my best friend, bring it bitch. Hinata said. There was a yeah shout and Neji was snarling in rage. He activated his Byakugan and slipped into the traditional stance. Seeing this, Hinata changed her stance and readied herself. Seeing that the talk was over, Hayate started the match. Neji struck out to hurt Hinata badly, but Hinata moved and redirected the blow. She twirled and pushed Neji away. Shocked, Neji spun around and lashed out with a kick. Hinata redirects the kick, throwing him a little off balance. Neji gains control and strikes out. Hinata moves with grace, avoiding and redirecting his Juken, gentle fist, strikes. When Neji tried to strike her in the chest, Hinata blocked his hands and began circling them. Neji could not break free, but he wouldn't have to as Hinata locked his arms to his chest. She then slammed her other palm into his trapped arms and sent him skidding back a few steps. Hinata took her stance and waited. Neji looked at her with shock, which quickly changed to rage. What the hell are you doing? That's not the Juken, he roared. It might not be the clan's Juken, but it is my Juken. What's wrong? Aren't you the prodigy of the Hyuga? Hinata mocked. Neji growled and charged at Hinata. The two engaged each other again and the fight was on. Everyone watched with some surprise. Who would have thought that the meek and shy Hinata would be doing so well against the Hyuga prodigy? What did she mean about her Juken? Guy looked at the fight with some awe before smiling. He then made his way over to Naruto. Naruto-kun, was it you who inspired this youthful behavior in Hinata Heim, princess? Guy asked. Naruto looked at him with some confusion. Sakura and Shikamaru looked at him in confusion as well. Guy explained himself more. That form and style, it is not the traditional Juken. Did you encourage this change? Oh that, why didn't you say that in the first place? Naruto asked with confusion. He quickly turned back to the fight. Well, I only made a suggestion after we had a spar. I saw that the traditional Juken wasn't working, so I suggested that she creates her own. She was resistant at first, but I managed to coax her into it. You mean annoy her into it? Shikamaru said, earning a glare from Naruto. That is very youthful of her. She has done what I've been saying for quite a while. She has created a soft style to the Juken. Guy said. Back to the fight, both Hyugas were having quite a fight. Hinata's created soft style was keeping up with Neji's strikes. Neji was starting to get frustrated because her style was actually working. He had taken several blows from her that hurt like hell. He was getting annoyed and decided to stop this now. Neji changed his strategy and used his fingers to strike Hinata's arm. He did the same to her other arm. Hinata caught his arm and pulled him toward her. She slammed her shoulder into his chest and made him back off. Hinata realized something was wrong and used her Byakugan to check her chakra. That's when she noticed that Neji sealed the chakra in her arms. She looked up to see the smile on his face. You may have used that abomination of the Juken, but the games are over. As you can see, I have sealed off the chakra in your arms. What will you do now? Neji asked with some humor. He pushed off his back leg to attack. Hinata took a deep and flared her chakra. Neji watched with some concern and it turned to shock when he saw the chakra return to her arms. He lashed out but she knocked it away. She did the same with his other arm and began to dispel her chakra out of all her points. Neji was wide-eyed as Hinata covered herself in chakra. Hakesho Kaiten. 8 trigrams palms revolving heaven, Hinata roared and spun. A spinning dome of chakra appeared and grind into Neji, who was wide open. He was then flung several feet across the floor, bouncing twice and landing in a heap. Hinata stopped spinning and dropped to a knee. Everyone watched with surprise. What were they just witnessing? The only one cheering was Naruto, who pumping his fists in the air. Sakura and Shikamaru could only watch with wide eyes. Was Hinata really that strong? Even Kurenai looked on in surprise. Hinata took a few breaths. The chitin was still new to her and she didn't have the stamina to do another one. It took a lot out of her just to push enough chakra into her system to undo the blocked chakra points. She could only hope that the fight was over. She did not get her wish. Neji struggled to stand to his feet. Once up, Neji looked at her with extreme hate. She could see his rage and she needed to gather a proper defense. It was not to be when Neji teleported right in front of her in a very familiar stance. Haka Rokujuyon Sho, 8 trigrams 64 palms, Neji shouted. With amazing skill and speed, Neji hit Hinata with 64 strikes to her body. The blows were hard and painful, forcing Hinata to spit blood. Neji ended his attack, throwing a powerful palm strike to her stomach that sent her flying across the air. Hinata hit the ground and bounced. Hinata then hit ground and stayed there unmoving. Neji wasn't done and he moved to end her. He ignored Hayate and charged her. That's when he caught something out of the corner of his eye. It was a fist with 3 kunai in between the fingers. It was stopped short of piercing his head. Everyone looked at the scene with shock and awe. Neji was held by Guy from behind. Hayate had his fingers on his forehead and Kurenai had his arm. The person who was holding the kunai, his arm was held by Anko. He was held back by a combination of Kakashi and Shikamaru's Kageme no Jutsu, shadow imitation technique. Neji looked and saw the rage in the eyes of Naruto. Medics quickly rushed to the Hinata's prone form and got to work. Naruto was struggling to get to Neji and Shikamaru was having a time keeping Naruto in place. Damn it, Naruto, calm the hell down, Anko shouted. Calm down. Calm down. This prick deserves to die for what he did. I don't care if it was a match. He tried to kill his family all because he got his ass handed to him by someone he deemed weak. He's the weak one, Naruto shouted. You dare to call me weak, loser? Neji shouted and glared at him. You are weak. You're too much of a coward to face things and you put it on other people. You've bullied Hinata for as long as she had been alive and she finally stood up to you. You and those assholes in your clan deemed her as weak and she just showed you just how strong she really is. She actually strong and your ego can't handle it. Naruto spat. Neji was seething and looked to go after him but Guy held him in place. Enough, both of you, Hiruzen shouted. This got everyone attention. Both Jinan turned to face him and had sweat rolling down their cheek. He glared at the both of them. The winner of the match is Hyuga Neji due to interference. What? Naruto roared. You will be silent, Jinan. Hiruzen stated. Guy, take your student to the balcony. Anko, take Naruto to the other side and watch over him. That's all. Final and over, the two both relaxed but they continued to glare at each other. You better pray that we do not meet in the finals. I will destroy you and put you in your place. Neji snarled. That goes for you too, jackass. You better pray I don't win because if I do, I'm going to take my kunai, attach some explosive notes, shine that shit up and shove it straight up your ass. The Jonin grabbed the two and led him toward the balconies. Anko led Naruto past the Suna team and to the far corner of the other side. She made sure that she had a good grip on Naruto. Shikamaru finally relaxed and sat down. Oh man, that was troublesome. Shikamaru said. Are you alright, Shikamaru? Sakura asked him. Yeah, I'll be fine. Man, I hope that I don't fight Naruto in the finals. If he could resist my Kageme no Jutsu, I have no shot. Shikamaru said. The board cycles again and two names pop up. It was Rock Lee versus Gaara. Naruto was glaring at Neji and flipping a kunai knife in the air. It would be so easy to just throw this weapon and bury it inside his head, but he knew that Anko would stop him. Anko just looked at him with a sigh and took the kunai away from him. That will be enough of that. There is a great match going on and you're missing it. Anko said. You think I care about this match right now? All I want to cut that son of a bitch into pieces for what he did. Naruto snarled. Come on Naruto, you know her situation with her clan. She's told you about. Why are you so surprised by what happened between the two? Anko asked. Because it's bullshit. She's been listening to that shit from those dried up drones all her life that she's useless. Before she met me, she was this shy girl would always stutter. We became friends and we both pushed each other to be better so we can accomplish our goals. She deserves respect for that. Besides, she is one of my precious people and my best friend. I don't like to see her hurt. Naruto said. Anko had hearts in her eyes and hugged Naruto, holding him in the air. That's just so cute. Why can't Iruka be sweet like you? Anko asked with a pout. Maybe because rape, no matter what reason, is still illegal. Naruto muttered. Anko heard him and turned the hug into a rear naked chokehold. Naruto was flailing around, trying to escape death. The match between Lee and Gaara ended in Gaara's victory. Guy had to step in to save his student who was badly injured. Most of the injuries that he sustained was self-inflicted due to him using the Hachimon, 8 gates. Sakura was very concerned about Lee as it seems that his injuries were very bad. As Lee was carried off the floor, the final 2 Genin got ready to fight. Abumi Zaku walked down to the floor, his arms being removed from the slings that he was wearing. Naruto was about to jump down to face him but he was stopped by Anko. Okay kid, remember what we were talking about before they took Lee out of here. Anko said. Alright already. Geez, you're acting like you're any better. What about that guy that been walking with a limp for 2 months? Naruto demanded. Hey, that bastard called me a whore. I am an active, vibrant woman who just enjoys a good time. Anko explained. Good time, yeah right. Sneaking into Iruka's home and cutting pieces of his hair to make your Iruka doll, he was cut off by Anko punching him in the jaw. Naruto hit the ground with a thud. Everyone just watched with a sweat drop on the back of their heads. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe and see you guys later.